I somehow got my outfits mixed up for the last couple episodes of this series. This is what I was supposed to wear for the Karnaki episode 2 weeks ago, but we're just gonna pretend I didn't mess anything up and this was all intentional. This week, a man on a seafaring expedition in the Pacific accidentally awakes having encroached on an ancient civilization's ruins, and what he finds sends him to the edge of his sanity. This story is amongst Lovecraft's large quantity of most well-known stories, and a precursor to what he is most prominently known for. Those underpinnings, plus an excellent display of prose a la The Beast in the Cave, make this one well worth reading to me. I give Dagon a 4 out of 5 rounded down, with every right to make that a 5 out of 5 rounded up, if I so choose. Truth be told, there's not too much more to Dagon than what I already introduced the story as just a moment ago. It begins with the narrator stating that he cannot continue to live after what he's seen out in the ocean. He recounts the way that he awoke upon this mysterious mass of dubious land, quote unquote. He also talks of evidence of an ancient civilization on this piece of land with an unknown writing system based on hieroglyphs. He talks of evidence of religious devotion of these sea peoples, and he then finishes the 4-page story with the emergence of this Dagon, the supposed god of these people and a figure from actual mythologies. He describes the horrifying experience that witnessing Dagon was, how he passed out, and how he woke back in San Francisco, having been saved by other sailors. The story ends ambiguously, with us assuming he has done what he set out to, following the recounting. Dagon is a very short story. It is a very sweet one, but there's not a whole lot to analyze, primarily on account of it being only 4 pages, and Lovecraft being rather explicit in the tonal mood of the story, and, well, the explicit events of it also being rather straightforward. It has great prose, a la The Beast in the Cave, in my opinion. I thought that other story was also very well written, but also has none of the pitfalls of Beast in the Cave, or even The Alchemist, where, Lovecraft very deeply explains in, a single sentence or paragraph at the very end of the story exactly what happened. He's a little bit more ambiguous here, and it turns out that was the correct decision. It's very obvious, as I've said before, that this is a precursor to the equally iconic The Call of Cthulhu and other similar behemoths of Lovecraft's catalog. I think it was quite successful in what it was doing, and is probably one of the main reasons why it is one of his most well-known stories. There's obviously a reason he stuck with this kind of story, a story about mysterious figures, eldritch horrors, unknown, fear of the unknown, gazing into the face of the unknown and being so horrified that you can hardly stay sane in the wake of what you have seen. This is a standout feature of what we consider to be Lovecraftian and cosmic horror today, and is something that you see in many other stories written by people who have taken influence to Lovecraft's writing over the years. Even examples of other mediums, something like, say, Bloodborne, the FromSoft game, is a very Lovecraft-inspired game, and you can already see some of the Lovecraftian influence just in this one 4-page story, let alone the rest of his catalog. I really loved this one, and the only real criticism of it for me is that it's shorter than I would like, hence the 4.5 rounded down for the purpose of this video. It's barely not a full 5 stars to me, but it is also, in effect, nearly perfect. As I've said a couple of times so far, there's not a whole lot to deeply analyze with Dagon, but I do think it is a very representative story for what I think Lovecraft's strengths are. Writing from a first-person narration, somebody who may not be totally within his faculties, writing with a very beautiful style that may also have intricacies that cause it to be unreliable as a narration is concerned. Mysterious figures that aren't fully described but allow us to imagine something horrific, or maybe something not so horrific but just kind of out of this world in such a way that our brains just can't comprehend it, whether it is horrific or beautiful or not. There's a lot of inklings of what we consider to be these days Lovecraftian horror already seated in such a short story here, and it makes me very excited to read some more of the most iconic tales in the future. In 2 weeks, on the 28th of this month, I'll be covering something a little bit different and a little bit longer than 4 pages, we shall say. A novella by E.T.A. Hoffman, one recommended by a friend. I'll be covering The Sandman by the aforementioned E.T.A. Hoffman, one that I know nothing about as of the time that I'm recording this, but will be reading very soon, and I am excited for it. I hope to see you on that episode of Short Story Sundays.